Hello guys, before we start this recording, there's one announcement I would like to make. Watch this video until the end because let's just say important stuff is about to be revealed by the end of the video. So watch until the end and enjoy this theory. You thought me tackling the Sonic timeline was confusing? Get ready because you haven't seen anything yet, because today we are tackling the Fnaf timeline. The name is Kaiser, and today I'm explaining to you why Fnaf's sister location is a reboot of the Fnaf series. Let's take a look at the facts. We know that in the period of 2014 till 2015, Scott Cawthon was pretty much done with this series. Originally, it was supposed to be a trilogy, with the third game being the final game in the series, before he changed his mind and made the fourth game. He expressed fatigue and burnout and expressed interest in doing something new. 2015 was also the year of experimentation, with Fnaf World and Sister Location. Fnaf World was hated initially upon release, and Sister Location was praised upon the release. This for me raises an obvious question. If Scott Cawthon expressed fatigue and frustration with the Fnaf series up to this point, why didn't he just end the series after the fourth game? That's where my theory comes in. What if Scott Cawthon did end the series and Sister Location was meant to be a reboot? Now, hear me out. The story of Fnaf games beyond Sister Location have all tied themselves back to the past at some point or another. Each game had some connection to the first four, whether big or small. These connections were done by bringing back old characters, random details, or straight up plot lines. Now, why is this, you may be wondering? If these are meant to be new Fnaf games with new stories, why did they all try to creep back to the past? While I can't give 100% answers, I have two speculations as to why. The first reason, this was a course direction for the story. This suggests that the original vision of the story was supposed to be way bigger. I can see why people would believe this. After all, the movie had come out, and the second movie is going to be released. And with every new game, there was always an ARG element to solve. The second and much more likely theory to be correct is that this was done retroactively. Now, what does this mean? I like to take a bit more loose approach, and I like to believe that there was a vision for the story. After all, there was clearly something there, like how Puppet and Balloon Boy was supposed to be in the first game, but they got scrapped. Now, let's take a look at the in-game evidence. Now, I will admit, if we were looking only at the in-game evidence, the entire theory falls apart, because the theory will just use either superficial evidence or it will just use evidence that is so small that it doesn't matter. But I'm optimistic, and I like to believe there is more than enough evidence to this theory. First of all, let's humor the Fnaf theory community. Let's say that the timeline that MatPat and Reddit established are correct, and that all of these games are all connected to each other. Then, if that would be the case, then why aren't the rest of the games numbered? Think about it. All of these tie back to the originals, and that everything is somewhat connected. Then the correct title should have been Fnaf 5, subtitle Sister Location. But the fact that with the exception of one, are not numbered and rely on subtitles, further adding to my theory. Now, you will say that it's not good enough for evidence, and I agree. Lots of movies do this, where they numbered the series, but then stop numbering them, but are all part of the same franchise. You have to take a look at the other major pieces of evidence, like the gameplay. The gameplay of the first four games were more like rhythm games. They all had similar gameplay, but with differences. The games after Fnaf 4 is where things start to get interesting. None of the games have any cohesion or connection between each other outside of the name. For example, since the location is a walking simulator disguised as a horror game, Pizzeria Simulator had a Pizza Tycoon gameplay that was more fun than the horror gameplay, and so on and so forth. Now, like I mentioned before, none of these games are connected. They all play differently and even have different ways of telling the story, with the new games being more direct but missing details, and older games being more cryptic with all of the detail. You may think, again, that the new animatronics disprove my point. Quite the opposite. I think it adds to my point. Now, this is where we get into speculation territory. What if Scott Cawthon and MatPat were cahoots with each other? What do I mean by this? It's complicated, but I will make a separate theory about this in the future. But DLDR, it was a combination of Scott Cawthon writing himself in a corner and very, very minor pressure to change his mind and make this about Fnaf. That means these games, which originally had nothing to do with Fnaf, were forced to become Fnaf games during development. What does this mean for the Fnaf story? Nothing changes about this story, but it adds a different context to the Fnaf as a whole. The story we've been analyzing was a bold course direction for the series. While the original story of the first 4 games has ended a long time ago, the new future Fnaf games still continue on with the story through books, movies, new games, whatever. Now, there is a reason why I said to watch this video till the end at the beginning. That's because I am not confident in this theory. After all, this is why the series is called Dumb Theories That Will Never Come True. So take this theory with a huge grain of salt, as I might be entirely wrong with my research. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone!